Well, all the ingredients are here, aren't they? A very much informed lower league team.
Is this the chance? It is the chance, and it's the goal that they craved.
And Scunthorpe, David Bale puts his name up in lights and Wembley.
Which has been in chaos off the pitch, is in harmony on it.
Hello and welcome back to another episode by Inside the Changing Room. Today we are joined by a man who started his youth career at Norwich City. He went on to play for Scunthorpe, Barnsley, Preston, Charlton, Brentford, Wycombe before dropping into the non-league and is now a football agent. He has achieved numerous promotions and relegations throughout his career, playing nearly 600 games in the Football League. Today we are joined by Paul Hayes. Paul, thank you ever so much for coming on.
James, thanks for having me. How are you doing, Jacob?
I'm good, cheers, mate.
Paul, how about that for an introduction?
Quite a long one, that, wasn't it? Not used to that.
Nice, though. It is nice.
It was very nice, yeah. You actually might need you as my new agent.
All right, we'll speak about that after, shall we?
Shall we?
Paul, yeah, let's go right back to the start then. What made you get into the beautiful game?
Just as a kid, really. It was obviously my oldest brother played for Arsenal back in the 80s. So it was probably a little bit drummed into me as a kid, you know, obviously being around football all the time, but just the love of it. Do you know what I mean? As soon as you start walking and kicking the ball and being over the park, you just naturally just love football, and that's all I ever wanted to be, is to be a footballer and just play as much as I can. Yeah,
obviously you started your career at Norwich. How did that come about? Was it a case that you were playing for a local team, or was it a trial thing that you went to, or how did that end up happening?
Well, I was playing for the school team back in East London when I was there. They had a Norwich scout come over and watched and asked me if I wanted to go up to Norwich for a trial for a week and see it from there. So I went up for the week, and they liked what they saw, and then I got myself a schoolboy contract.
Yeah, I mean, it's a big club, Norwich. I mean, what in terms of obviously a Premier League club now. I mean, size of that club, you must have thought going up there. You must have thought, wow, this is quite the experience, isn't it?
Yeah, because obviously at the time I was training with Wimbledon. They quite liked me to obviously sign and stay there, but my dad wasn't too sure about the club and everything like that. But when I went up there for the first week, obviously, you know, from outside the area, you know, Norwich obviously being a club, you know, it's a lovely place, a lovely club. People look after you, but obviously you stepped foot in there for a week, and I just knew straight away if I had the opportunity to sign for a contract for Norwich, I would have taken it. So I really enjoyed it, and my experience was really good.
I mean, whilst you're at Norwich, cover a couple of adventures actually. But as a young player, you didn't really break into the first team. I mean, how frustrating was that at the time?
Yeah, I had a bit mixed emotions at Norwich, really. I obviously just got my head down and worked hard as best I could, and then going into my second year scholarship, because back then you had 3 years. I trained a lot with the first team, and in the last 3 months of the season, I was training all the time with the first team and travelling with them home and away games and stuff like that. And then I got on the bench twice the last 2 games of the season, which for me, when I was on 50 quid a week being a youth team player, and then there's players that I'm taking their places who's on 3 or 4 or 5 grand a week, it was massive for me. That I thought, you know what, I've warranted this. I've worked really hard. We got to the playoffs. Nigel Worthington chose to go with more experienced players, so he dropped me out, which was fine. But I was involved in the squad, which I was happy about. And we lost in the final to Birmingham on penalties. So it was a bit of an up and down season, but really good experience for myself as an 18-year-old boy. Really humble, really grounded about it. And they just said to me, listen, come back pre-season, do well when you get yourself a pro contract. And I thought, fantastic. Go away, worked hard, come back pre-season. Played, obviously, involved in majority of the first team games. I'm back in the youth team. as a third-year scholarship, nearly turning 19, and it was just a big blow. I just knew then, if I'm 19, I'm back with the youth team. They don't fancy me, don't want me. So I knew the writing was on the wall, and I had to leave and find myself, either try and find myself a club or go back and mum and dad and normally work.
I mean, yeah, in 2008, you got to Scunthorpe. I mean, that was your first move as a senior footballer. What was it about Scunthorpe that attracted you?
Nothing. I'll be honest with you. I didn't even know the place. I was very, very. I was fortunate in a way because my youth team manager was Adi Boothroyd at the time, 21's manager, and he was on a coaching course with Brian Laws, who was Scunthorpe manager back then. I think in the summer or around that time, whatever it was. Anyway, he mentioned to him that looked like I'm going to be getting released at Norwich, and I think you should have a look at me. So he pulled me in and said, "Look, Scunthorpe want to have a look at you on trial. Go up there, play a game for the reserves, and show them how good you are." So obviously packed up my little Clio, went up there, played a game, a nighttime game, come back. Obviously, Brian Laws pulled me afterwards and said, "Look, I like what I see, but I want to see you again the following week." I said, "Okay then." So I went back to Norwich, trained, following week back up to Scunthorpe, played another reserve game, done well, and he pulled me in and said, "Look, I want to take over your contract." But the problem is, obviously, I still have one more year left as a scholarship at Norwich, so I had to really think about, do I want to stay at Norwich and get released and be a release from a championship side, or do I go to Scunthorpe as he takes on my youth team contract and potentially get released by Scunthorpe at the end of that? Like, it's, you rather get released at a higher club than a lower club because you've got more chance of getting back into a football league club. So Brian Laws reassured me that I'll train with the first team. I'm basically a first team player, but on 50 quid a week, which is getting a right bargain. So I thought, you know what? You've got to back yourself. And I say this to every young kid, no matter what money you're getting offered, no matter where you're at, just go to the club and back yourself, because you're a nobody. You've got to get yourself on the map. So I packed up all my stuff in my little Clio. Up I went. They put me in digs up at Scunthorpe, and I just trained with the first team. And like I say, what was that? That was in December, and I didn't get my pro contract until March. And by then I'd scored 4 goals for the first team, I think, and played 10 games. So it took me a while to even get a pro contract at Scunthorpe. So, and that's why I can't understand some young players that just get ahead of themselves or think they should be earning this money and should be doing that, because you're a nobody. You need to put yourself on the map. You need to start playing games and show people how good you are with your feet and not with your mouth.
I mean, yeah, not being really aware of the club and having to go and live in digs for a while before you were given a pro contract, did that impact at all on how quickly you settled in?
No, because I left home at 16, so I left from Essex up to Norwich and stayed in digs for 2.5 years. So it was a norm for me, living in a different family, different people. Like, just if you're going to go into football, you're not going to be around too many people for long. You're going to keep moving and changing things and stuff. So my full focus was literally just get me on a training field, train well, do the best I can, get into the first team and just play games. So it's a great experience. Like you say, there's not many young people really at 16, 17, 18, 19 move out their homes away and take a gamble through work and stuff. So it was it really opens up your eyes. You become a man a little bit quicker, especially playing men's football, playing youth team football. And obviously I was lucky enough not to play 23 football because I didn't have it back then, but playing that, you're an extended kid. So to be around men and an experience of being in the change rooms about, I had Peter Beagrie there, who was a really old pro, Steve Talpe, and a few other really old players there that really opened up your eyes to what the football's going to be like, and it was a great experience for myself.
I mean, yeah, that season, 8 goals in 20 games, and you eventually made the playoffs but lost out in the playoffs to Lincoln. How would you sum up that season for yourself?
Draining. Because obviously 1 minute I'm thinking I'm going to get a pro contract at Norwich, then I'm getting released, then I'm obviously trialing at Scunthorpe, then I'm just about getting the first team, then I start playing first team football, scoring goals. Then we got to the playoffs and lost to Lincoln, which was a local rival as well. So it was, I knew at the end of it when we lost, a few of the lads went out afterwards to say, like, what what achievement season it was, but I wasn't going for anything. No, I just wanted to go back to my digs and just go to sleep and just sulk really and get really pissed off myself that we didn't go up. So just a roller coaster up and down season. But it made me into a man straight away and realise this is what football can be like if you don't work hard.
Yeah, Paul, you played 45 times the following year. Bit of a weird campaign because that year it was just about stayed up, and to go from obviously near promotion to then just about survival, that must have been a bit of a weird campaign.
Yeah, really weird. And I think only the ones that are in and around Scunthorpe or Scunthorpe fans would know how weird it was. Anyone else, it'd just be, League Two. Anyone can sort of go up and go down. But considering we missed out on the playoffs last year, Brian Lawes obviously brought in a couple of players, and this is where maybe a little bit, scoring the 8 goals in 20 games, it went to my head in the off season where, Beagrie and the older players just said, look, their off season with their off season, and that's what it used to be back then. In the off season you didn't do anything, so and then you get fit in pre-season and you start the season. So I went home back to Essex and I sort of, didn't really do much exercise and just did what I wanted to, and I went back overweight pre-season because I've done so well the following season. I thought, I'm not that I'm sure the start, but I'm confident in myself that I can do well again and push on. And as I started the season okay, but it wasn't nowhere near as what I should have done. And then manager brought in Steve McLean, the forward, and he started scoring. I sat on the bench and I was in and out, and then I found the wing, and all the players we just didn't gel. We just didn't start the season well. And just confidence went, and that's the problem when you're down the bottom. And it just like game after game kept losing. Brian Lawes got sacked during it. Then the assistant manager Russell Wilcox took over with Nigel Atkins for about a month on gardening leave. Then Brian Lawes come back, and then nothing really changed. And we just struggled. I'd fallouts with Brian Lawes as well during the season. I think at the time York and Northampton come in for me and wanted to take me on loan, and Northampton they put a 40 grand bid in for me. Brian Lawes said no. I was fuming because I wasn't playing, and I just wanted to play football, and it was frustrating as a young player that I couldn't play. So, like I say, we had a few ding dongs in his office, and it was kind of a relief for the season to end. Really, obviously, I didn't want us to get relegated. I just wanted the season to end, to start again the following season and give it a good crack.
Yeah, well, you certainly did that, because then come the 2004-05 campaign, you hit 20 goals and promotion to League One. What was the difference between that previous year where you just survived to then promotion that following campaign and you hit the ground running?
Players that Brian Lawes brought in at the time. So season before, he kept majority of the players the season before that because he felt a little bit more loyal to them. And none of us performed that season, apart from Steve McLean. Really, I think he got 30 goals with the team. He got relegated, so everyone else was well underperformed. We were very poor. So Brian Lawes went back and just got the whole new spine basically. He brought in height, brought in experience, and we just gelled. We started the season really well, and then confidence grew, and then we just believed in what could happen, and we was quite strong really that season. Obviously, it helps that your forwards are scoring, and just confidence was oozing through the team really, and we just enjoyed it. Do you know what I mean? It was completely forgot about the season before, and we had one goal as it was going on that we could get promotion, we can do this, and we just believed in ourselves. And I think everyone performed to their best really that season, and it really helped the players he brought in.
Yeah, obviously during that season you played against Chelsea in the FA Cup. You actually scored the opener. What was that like as an experience?
Very surprising. Yeah. Surreal. It's really, really hard to explain to anyone. It's like, that anything's possible, obviously, but don't expect it. Like we're doing shape beforehand, and it's the old 4-4-2 that we do. But Brian Lawes said, "I need you to drop back into midfield to help out because I've got 3 midfielders and that sort of thing." I just thought, well, I'm going to be a little bit far away from the goal this game because I'm dropping out into number 4 to pick him up every time. So, but going into the game, you're thinking, I'll get one chance. possibly on an off chance, maybe 2. Do you know what I mean? So I think it was really early as well. I think it was after about 8 minutes. Matthew Sparrow put a cross in and just come in. And I've had a great touch to span the defender, and then put it through Guidicini's legs, and it was like goosebumps, excitement. But then you're thinking, did this actually happen? All at the same time. It was a really, really hard expression. I mean, I'm only 21 at the time, so obviously I'm having a good season. I think I got 13 goals up to then, up to Christmas. So it was obviously start of January. So confidence is there anyway. But you're thinking, I'm up against these big boys here. Do you know what I mean? It was. They were saying obviously up to that game they hadn't seen the goal for 9 hours either. So that's when Mourinho was bossing it. In 2005. Drogba, Hesman, Good Johnson. Joe Cole, Jeremy. They're good players that were playing against us, little Scunthorpe, and they're robbing on the bench as well. That was coming on, so it was. They respected us, but it was just like I said, it was just surreal. It was just so. Like I say, it was nice really because where I scored, we had the 6,000 Scunthorpe fans behind the goal, so I could actually celebrate with them. So it was weird, but it was lovely. It was amazing. And like you say, yeah, you're disappointed that you lose because obviously you're hoping 1-0 might get a draw, or do you know what I mean? You never know, but they just turned it up that little bit more, and
yeah.
I mean, yeah, and then
the quality just moves through. Can you hear me?
Yeah, all good.
Yeah. Yeah, you there, boys? Can you hear me? Just my boy.
Yeah, you can hear.
It's fucking hard to hear the boys. Go on, carry on. I'm just in the kitchen now.
Carry on. Yeah.
Yeah, carry on. Like I say, as long as you don't mind me doing things I do in it, I'm literally only just going to do it for a second. But
That's cool. Okay. So you then transferred to Barnsley in 2005. What was it about Barnsley that you wanted to be a part of?
Well, yeah, it was. Yeah, so obviously we got promoted. Then they started speaking to me about contracts and stuff, and because it was sort of a indifferent season, obviously I'd done well, got promoted. I had a chance to either sign a contract, but I wasn't too sure about what direction Scunthorpe was going in, but also if Brian Laws was going to play me all the time. But also there was Barnsley and Yeovil that wanted to sign me. So I had a good opportunity to go and speak to both clubs. Gary Johnson down at Yeovil and Lee Johnson looked after me really well. And then also go and speak to Barnsley. And I obviously stepped foot into Barnsley's club, and I just knew straight away the size of the club, the ambition, what they've done, the history, and the players that they wanted to bring in at the time. The manager Andy Ritchie was explaining to me players and the the formation and the tactics and what they want to achieve basically, and it was it sold me straight away. The problem is obviously it was because I'm under the age of 24, it was a tribunal, so that was obviously had to make sure that they were willing to pay for that. So that was interesting, but I knew straight away that Barnes was a club for me.
I mean, yeah, that same season you obviously secured promotion via the playoffs. You actually scored in the penalty shootout in the final. I mean, sum up that season and also the mood around the playoffs. Like, did you really firmly believe that you were going to go up that year?
In the season, yeah, we really did. We knew that the size of the club and what we could achieve, and the players that we had, and when we brought in, we knew that as a group we could achieve something really this season. During halfway through the season, we had a blip. We were struggling a little bit, and then we scraped in the playoffs just towards the end, and we thought, right, it's anyone's game, and then we obviously played Huddersfield, beat them, and then got to the final and played Swansea. And I'll tell you what, though, obviously it was nice to obviously score the opening goal and 1-0 up, which was, again, it was just a surreal thing. Do you know what I mean? Playing at Millennium Stadium, it was near enough packed with Swansea, and also playing in Cardiff against Swansea was massive. Remember, obviously, we had a look around the stadium the day beforehand, and all the groundsmen were all Cardiff fans, and they hate Swansea, don't they? So they was telling us, obviously, it's raining a little bit. The pitch is hard on top but soft underneath. They were saying, so you want to get your studs a certain length to get right. He said, but when Swansea come, we're going to tell them that it's fine. Just have moulds on. You'll be fine on it, so they can slip over. They didn't want them to get promoted. It was just brilliant. It was just brilliant. Obviously, going there. So obviously Swansea were packed out, and we took 30,000. I think they took about 40,000, whatever it was. So they had a little bit more, 10,000 more than us, I think it was. But went 1-0 up. And after that, we got absolutely battered without the whole game. We held on and got right to the end. Legs were off, and we got to the penalties, and we just thought, obviously, it's a lottery, isn't it? Anyone's game. But I took the first one because I was a penalty taker anyway, because I scored in the playoff semi-final, so I was the penalty taker anyway. And all of us scored. Me, Paul Heckingbottom, Chris Schuker, Andy Kay. I can't remember the last one who took the other one, but yeah, I think we scored all ours. Yeah, it was only 4 of us that scored, and I think they missed 2. Big, my man, Big Bayo. And we got promoted. It was good.
I'm sure he's been reminded that of enough times by yourself, hasn't he? Of that penalty miss.
Yeah, I can't say it too many times. He's a lot bigger than me, a lot harder. So I'll I've got to be careful when only when he's in a good mood I can maybe say it.
That following season, Paul, back into the Championship, you played 33 times. Sum up that 06-07 campaign for yourself and the team.
What was it? Yeah. Yeah, went up with Barnsley. Yeah, that's the first time I was in the Championship. Yeah. Yeah, it was really, it was like a case of going there with confidence, but not arrogance confidence. And sorry, I'm just putting a charger in. Sorry, boys.
That's right.
And it was it was weird. So obviously, because we got promoted and everything was great, Barnsley back in the Championship again, which haven't been for a long time. Expectation was, we could do all right. And started the season. To be fair, I started the season okay. I think I scored 3 in the first 6 games, and we was doing all right. But then we went on a bad spell, and then the manager who took us out got sacked, and then Simon Davis, the youth team manager, he come in and took over, and it was quite really, really weird because the old manager got told that he can't. He can't bring any players in. The chairman said he can't bring any players in, so we're going to struggle a little bit. And then when he got sacked, Simon Davis come in. He signed 4 players straight away. He signed Leon Knight, Grant McCann for Cheltenham, Ronnie Woolworth from Man United on loan, and someone else. And it was just literally the manager got sacked. That morning, Simon Davis took over the training. We're thinking, who's going to play? We have no idea. We just brought in 4 new players. What's going to happen? And I play him. He asked me and suggested I play right wing for him, which is very weird. So started playing right wing for him in the Championship, which I didn't even play right wing in League 2 or League 1. So it was really weird and really surreal.
Weird.
And then got there played until about sort of just after Christmas time, and I was doing all right. Got a few assists, a couple of goals. But we were struggling a bit. It was hard for us. And then Southend put a bid in for me, and I wanted to go home. I've been up north for quite a while now. I've got a family. Southend were in the Championship and they were riding quite high. But me and Simon Davis had a fall out about it, and then I just didn't play anymore. That was it. Bang, done. Back on loan.
Yeah. You went on loan to Huddersfield. Was it the case of you just had to get out and play some games?
Yeah, obviously, because Simon Davis didn't want me around the place at all. For some reason, he didn't fancy me then. He, being a bully, being a horrible guy. So went in the train, done my stuff, but just wouldn't select me, wouldn't play me. And then he just said to me, right, that's it, you're going out on loan. Get you out of the place. So
wow.
I said, and I've always been the case, listen, manager doesn't want you, you go. No point standing around or anything like that. Just go and play. Career's too short, just go and play. And I just thought, I don't want to stay there. I don't want to stay under him anymore. So I was more than happy to go out Huddersfield, and it's decided that we beat 6 months previously in the playoffs as well, which was quite a strange thing as well, walking into the change room, seeing all the boys there.
Yeah, I bet they. I bet. Did on the first day? Did you end up reminding them of what they'd experienced just 6 months prior?
Well, I can't. I'm outnumbered. I can't do that. But they knew. They knew deep down. We done them over.
Yeah, I mean,
the local derby as well, which was good.
I mean, yeah, you returned back to Scunthorpe in 2007. You said earlier on in this podcast that nothing attracted you to the club, but you couldn't stay away from the place.
No, well, you're talking to a 19-year-old boy, and back then there was no Wi-Fi, there was nothing. There was just road maps. So at 19, I was very oblivious to the world. So when they said about Scunthorpe, I thought, where's Scunthorpe in the country? I have no idea at all. To be honest with you, I didn't even know what league I was in. Just purely because being a young kid and your bubble is Norwich for me. It was just Norwich, full and through. Do you know what I mean? Norwich in the Championship. I want to focus on playing for Norwich, nothing else. So when you get told you're released, there's a club that come in for you. You're like, where's that? So you look up on it and you think League Two doesn't bother me at all. Doesn't bother me what league they're in, not at all. But I was like, where's Scunthorpe? So then I've got my little road map up. I'm thinking, I'll go past Boston all the way up there. Otherwise, like I'm 19. So like I say, because I had 2.5 years at Scunthorpe, and it was, apart from obviously probably about 6 months where it wasn't great, the other 2 years was fantastic. Fans were good to me, and to be fair, they didn't like the way I left, sort of thing. But it was strange, really, because Nigel Atkins phoned me up about Mark Richards going to Scunthorpe, saying, "What's Mark Richards doing? He's getting released." I said, Rico, I think he's going to go Port Vale. He's going to go home, and he's going to go back to where his family's based, and he signed. So Nigel said, "What are you doing with yourself?" So I know Nigel said, "I want to leave, really, because obviously, again, I'm 23. Simon Davey didn't want me, so I had to. I said to him, I want to leave if possible." And he said to me, "What do you think about coming back?" I said, "Nigel, listen, if you're the manager and you want me back and you're in the Championship, 100% I'll come back." So we had conversations. He spoke to the chairman, who I got along really well with as well, and we sorted out a deal. And I just thought, you know what, this is fantastic for me, because I didn't move house either, so I was travelling from Scunthorpe, Barnsley every day anyway, so didn't have to move. And I'm back at the club that started my career, and I've done well at. And we're in like I say, when I left, it was a side that was just hoping to maybe stay in League One and avoid relegation and maybe go back to League Two, where now I've come back and they've got promoted to the Championship. It's exactly where I want to be. And because I've had a year in the Championship and I loved it, it was a no-brainer for me.
I mean, yeah, appearances campaign with Scunthorpe. It unfortunately ended in relegation. What do you think was it that you could pinpoint where things just didn't really go right about maybe the team or just the season in general that year?
Everything was just all out of our depth. I remember when we had our first meeting at Scunthorpe, was in the change rooms. Nigel Atkins, as he does, he's fantastic man, best manager that I've ever played under, best person, and he just stand there and he was talking about, just obviously life and the achievement that all you boys have had, and we've got a chance, little old Scunthorpe in the Championship, and blah blah blah, that sort of thing that he does. He's very, very animated the way he talks, and he just said, "Put up your hands if you played in the Championship before." And there was only me and Izzy Rickpen could put our hand up out of the squad of 18 players. So we're starting the season with only 2 players that's ever stepped foot in the Championship before. The rest of the 16 players or 18 players, whatever, have never played in the Championship before. The highest level to play at is League One. So obviously Nigel's never coached in that or managed in that level before. Andy Crosby never has. Ian Barrowclough has played in it, but he was the coach now. So everyone really was all new. The fans haven't been there for 44 years. It's a small club. Like you say, we know looking back, it was we were punching, and there was no way that we could survive, really. Like, not only none of us really performed, apart from Martin Patterson, who got himself a move to Burnley for 1.3 mil because he got 13 goals in that season. And Jack Cork. We had Jack Cork on loan, who was unreal. Everyone else was way below par. Obviously, Nigel probably admitted, he made quite a few mistakes on either personnel or formations. And to be honest, Nigel stayed too loyal to me. He played me probably far too many games he should have done because I wasn't performing. But Nigel had so much belief and loyalty towards me that he knew and thought that I could produce. And everyone was way below what we should have done, and we were nowhere near good enough. And we actually went down on 46 points, and there's a lot of teams that actually survived on 46 points after that season. So it was obviously disappointing that we went down, but for the club that we actually got quite a few many points. But yeah, we was nowhere near good enough.
I mean, yeah, but on the other, obviously the season afterwards, you bounced straight back up. So, I mean, you scored 19 goals as well that season.
20.
What do you think it was? Say that again? Oh, well, 20, yeah. As soon as you bounce straight back up again, what do you think it was looking back that the manager allowed to get the best out of you tactically?
So Nige, like I said, this is where for me Nige is by far the best manager that I've experienced being with, and it shows that he's managed in the Premiership with Southampton and got numerous promotions. What he done really well, and what he does really well after every training session, every game, he debriefs, he analyses, he sees where it goes right or wrong, and how we can improve himself, how the coach can improve, and how can the players can improve. And he's always testing things out and trying things out, and he's very adaptable to everything. And looking back on it, obviously as a player, you're oblivious to everything. All you think about is turn up to training well, hopefully getting picked, playing a match, going home. But he obviously would have gone away after the season, thought about everything that went wrong, what should have gone right, and come in the season, thought, right, he's recruited very well as well. So he's kept the main players that he knew that could do well in the League One, because obviously at the season he brought in Sam Togwell, Grant McCann. Who else did he bring in during that season? I can't remember who else it was, but the players that have been playing the Championship the last couple of years with me in Barnsley and Scunthorpe, he's kept us as a group. And then he's added some good players. Well, obviously he went out and got Gary Hooper at the time, and no one at that time there, he couldn't even get in the Southend team in the reserves, and he's out on loan at Leyton Orient, and they just didn't want him. So Nige saw something in him that no one else saw, and brought Hoops in for about 150 grand, I think it was at the time, which was, everyone's thinking that's a lot of money for a forward that no one knows about. And we just kicked off, just brilliant. Started the season really well. Pre-season was fantastic. We worked really hard on a lot of things, tactics and personnel, and where we're going to play. And the players that he started with, which we just clicked naturally. Like I say, we had pace on either wing with Martin Walford and Gary Thompson or Matthew Sparrow. You had Grant McCann, who's got a wonder of a left foot that could, score and assist. You had Sam Togwell, we call him the Dogwell, just really used to run around everywhere and hunt the ball and give it to Grant every time he could. And then you had me and Hoops working as a partnership, which, like you say, I got 20 and Hoops got 30 goals, and we got a lot of assists towards each other as well, which helped out. And any team that gets promoted, if you forwards scoring goals, you got every chance of going up. And we just, like you say, we squeezed into the playoffs that year. Don't get me wrong, right at the last game of the season against Tranmere, but throughout the whole season, we just knew that something could be happening this season.
Would you say that you always thought that promotion was on the agenda right from the very beginning, rather than a case of building confidence over the season?
Definitely, I think any team anyway, when you get relegated naturally, is a case of let's get straight back up again. That is a goal sort of thing. But I think where we obviously went, where we felt we were stronger than most, like I say, he kept the bulk of players that we knew that are top end of League One clubs that could and should, push on and get back into the Championship. And like I say, we had a meeting beginning of the season saying, look, it's done now, negativity's gone. It's all about being positive and starting the season really well, and we did. And the biggest turning point was we got to the JPT final and played Luton, which was majority of us first time at Wembley as well, which was surreal because I was lucky to play in the playoffs, but it was at Millennium because Wembley wasn't built then, but Wembley's built now. So we've all gone back there, and as Nige does, you see there the day beforehand, look around the stadium, so you're not, so the occasion doesn't get to you obviously the next day. So we played Luton, and Luton were second bottom in League Two at the time because they took points away from them, and they were, going to get relegated, and we were in the playoffs at the time. Because the cup games took its toll, we were playing, we was 1 or 2 games behind everyone, so we had games in hand. And we lost the game, obviously, in extra time to Luton. And that was a real blow for us because we were favourites. We felt confident, done really well, and they beat us. And then it was straight after that, straight after the game, in the change room afterwards, when we was all disappointed and feeling down about ourselves, Nige said, "This is going to be the turning point now of your season. In 6 weeks' time, we could be back in playing in the playoff final, or we could come away from this season, start the season saying we're going to get promoted, got a good chance, losing in the playoff, losing in the JPT final, and not even getting to the playoffs. It could either be a good season or your worst season. It's all down to you now, boys. What you're going to do now for the next 6 weeks? Do you want to be back here now celebrating?" And so that gave us that extra 6 weeks there to think, right, it's a 6-week season now. We're really, really going to take every game as it comes now. We're just going to take every minute. And we, like I say, we just squeezed in as well. Right, we was really fatigued towards the end of the season, and we just literally Cliffy Burns scored obviously in the 89th minute, obviously to draw against Tranmere, who were at that time 6 and 7 with us, and went in the playoff final, beat MK Dons on penalties, which was again a lottery, and got to the final against Millwall. And it was, again, he sat us down and said, look, you win this, it's a great season. You lose this, it's a pointless season. You got to 2 finals and you lost 2. And it really dug deep for us as a team. And we gelled so much that season. Training was fantastic. And it was brilliant.
I bet you've got some stories from that campaign, haven't you, Paul?
Yeah, got a couple, to be fair.
Ones that you can say on a podcast or not?
Well, for one, we had, like most clubs anyway, you have worst trainer, didn't you?
Yeah.
But I think it was Izzy Rickpan. He decided, start that season, what we'll do is, because every Thursday we done like either young v old, or we done 3 teams of like 7 or 8, and you play against each other. And then the worst team, the losers, you have to vote one of them who you thought was the worst trainer. So how we worked it is the worst trainer would have to wear this horrific suit for match day, because obviously Nigel liked the fact that you wear suits for home games. So Izzy Rickpen went down to the charity shop and bought this combo. It's not even a combo. It was like a blazer, like a Hawaiian shirt, a straw hat, some chinos that were miles too short for everyone, size 15 shoes that didn't even match either. And it was just a case of, so you turn up match day knowing that you're the worst trainer, but you're also wearing that as well when everyone else has got their own suits on. And it was like, it was horrific. So, but then obviously every time you become obviously the worst trainer, you've got to add something to it. So people were coming out with briefcases, people coming with sunglasses on, people coming with a little pipe. You just little things that add to it. Do you know what I mean? Someone had a glove on once. It was just added little things on during the season that sort of get the morale going, sort of thing. It was just, it got to a time, I think it was Sam Togwell. He went full shebang. He wore everything. I think he put fake tan on as well once. It was just, and it's a match day. So it was interesting. It was good.
What was Nigel's reaction to that? Did he like?
Nigel loved it. He thought it was brilliant. He thought it was funny, and it was a case of, right, good banter. As soon as we got in the change room, everyone laughed about it. Took a picture, took the mix, sort of thing. It was like, right, bang. You don't want to wear it anymore, so you get it off, get it on your peg, get your kit on straight away, and then it's like game time now. Let's concentrate. But then the problem is, if you win and you get man of the match, you've got to put your suit back on again. You get interviewed in your horrible suit. So it was horrible. In a way, you want to make sure you don't get man of the match. So you just go out the back door and just, take a tracksuit with you and put a tracksuit on and leave, sort of thing. But, just that sort of morale that was going around. It was good. The other time we had, I don't know how to say this, but we had big Odijay, big forwards who come from Barnsley on loan. And like I say, we voted the worst trainer, stuff like that. And we done young v old across the pitch. And obviously, Kay was obviously an old player like us, even though he was only about 26 at the time. Because we had a young squad play for it. And the young boys voted Big K to wear the suit. So match day, because Kay's obviously 6'3", massive, he had to wear it, and he hated it with a passion. And then we were coming in training on Monday or Tuesday, wherever it was, and he's walked in, obviously after training, sort of thing. A few of the lads, obviously young lads, having a shower and stuff, and he walked in there with a BB gun, started shooting them on their legs, on their bums and stuff. So if you boys ever vote for me again, you're going to get it. That's it, mate. It was gone. It was gone. He was fuming. Yeah, never got voted again.
That following season, after promotion into the Championship, you scored 13 goals. Sum up that following campaign.
Brilliant, fantastic. Because the season before I was in the Championship with Scunthorpe, we didn't obviously do well. Like I said, we well underperformed, and I struggled. Like I only got 7 goals in the Championship that season. It was we got relegated. Obviously, the time before I was with Barnsley, and I say started off really well, and then got loaned out and started playing right wing. So it was a case that I was thinking, right, do you know what? I need to make sure that I'm a good enough Championship player. Do you know what I mean? I'm sort of obviously been here twice, been relegated once, stayed up once, but you know, I haven't really kicked off really. So the season before, obviously got 20 goals, Hoops got 30 goals, and like I say, it was just. I think I even got 16 assists in that season as well. So it was a case of felt really confident, and like anything, if you've got a good strike partner next to you that you combine with, felt really, you know, you feel twice a player. And going into the Championship, and just thought, you know what, if I can't do well now, I ain't going to do well. Because me and Hoops we just obviously bounced off so much. Do you know what I mean? My strength was his weakness was my strength, and we just gelled so much. So thought this is going to be brilliant. Do you know what I mean? We got every chance of doing well, and we funny enough, we played Cardiff first game of the season at their new stadium away. Nige gives you the old speech. Listen, they've moved from obviously the Media Park to moving to a new stadium, big stadium. Atmosphere might feel weird. Do you know what I mean? The crowd might get on their backs. You know, we're coming up. You feel very confident. We lost 4-0. It was just like,
I bet you walked in and was like, yeah, cheers, Nige.
it was about 30, honestly, it was about 100 degrees at the new stadium. We thought, right, we can keep these quiet a little bit. Nah, it just wasn't meant to be. Do you know what I mean? I think Michael Chopra and Jay Boothroyd just bossed it that day. And me and Hoops didn't even get a sniff, I don't think. And it was right back to earth, thinking, right, do you know what, we could actually do all right here. Not a bad opener. Do you know what I mean? As in Cardiff, like a mid-table to top half Championship side that thought, do you know what, we could maybe, you know, we don't want to play Newcastle first because they will absolutely batter us. So I thought, right, do you know what, it'd be fine. But I lost 4-0, embarrassing. And then can't remember. I think next game we drew. So it was a little bit of a slow start where previously, like I said, at Barnsley, where we've gone up, we started the season really well. And you get that momentum, do you know what I mean? The confidence and momentum's there, but we thought, do you know what, momentum's here, confidence is here, good players, we could stand up to this. And now we start the season not well, but during that season, like I say, it was brilliant. We beat Derby 3-0 away, we beat Crystal Palace 4-0 away, we beat Newcastle at home 3-2, and it was just, like I say, we just carried on from the season before, where we were just playing well and was scoring goals and entertaining. But the problem was conceding a lot of goals. And I think that season, even though we stayed up, we conceded something like 62 or 65 goals or whatever it was. It was, do you know what I mean? It was a lot of goals we conceded, but we scored 82 goals. And it was brilliant. It was crazy how, do you know what I mean? We scored so many goals in the Championship because Nige just believed in either 4-4-2 at home or 4-3-3 away, and just go on attack. Just believe in yourself, and they just, like I say, he just made everyone play to their potential, and it was to me it was that season, and definitely it's probably my favourite and best season, because obviously you're scoring 13 goals in the Championship and keeping the all Scunthorpe. You know, we stayed up as well with 2 games to go was incredible.
And do you think that was the difference? Do you think that was the difference, Paul? That from that previous from that campaign that you'd got relegated, where you said that a lot of players had been underperformed. From that campaign where you did manage to stay up, it was more players performing, and you were scoring a lot more goals as well.
Definitely, and that's when I said, like, where for me, Nige is the best manager that I've played with. Obviously, I don't want to disrespect obviously some of the managers that I play with, because I think, you know, Gareth Ainsworth is, I think Darren Ferguson is. I think they're top managers, and they're gonna, you know, they are going to be, you know, especially Gareth. He hasn't managed in the Championship, but he will do. But we'll get to that later. But but Nige this is where the guy is so intelligent and so clued on, where the mistakes and the things that he went wrong when we first went up in the Championship, he changed everything.
Yeah.
The training was different. The way we approached games were different. The way that we interacted with the fans was different. The way that he gave us confidence anyway, but he reassured us so much on everything, you know, on and off the field. And it was just his man management and his tactics were is second to none. Do you know what I mean? Like you could sit there eating lunch, and he'll come and sit next to you and just talk about your family. You know, how's your wife doing? And he'll know her name. How's your kids getting on? Have you moved yet? Do you know what I mean? Now, how's your dad? Obviously, you know, you said he was ill last time. Is he any better? He just them little things there, and it doesn't matter if you're talking to a 19-year-old or, you know, 34-year-old or whatever it's going to be. He just treats everyone with respect, and he just oozes you. Do you know what I mean? It's like numerous of times, you know, things go wrong. He just thinks to the positive, always thinks positive, and it was just like it's just what we needed. And if you look at it, a lot of us players, do you know what I mean? Not, you know, none of us were top championship players, not at all. But he made us top championship players, and we just excelled. And do you know what I mean? Hoops went on and scored 20 goals. I got 13 goals. I think Grant got 8 or 9 goals. Wolford got 7, I think. Gary Thompson got 6 or 7. Do you know what I mean? It's like majority of us players, like you say, played League One, League Two, but here we are playing the Championship and scoring and doing well. And it was all, for me, it's all down to the manager and Nigel Atkins.
Yeah, you also scored against Manchester City that season as well. Sum up that experience.
Yeah, brilliant. Do you know what? We was really lucky and fortunate because we drew them in the League Cup in the October time. I think it was like the 3rd round. I think it was, and we played them at the Etihad at their stadium, and it was like a wow. This is massive because obviously last time that has happened. Obviously when I played Chelsea, so to play Man City away at that stadium is unreal. So it was obviously a Tuesday night game, and to be fair, they put out quite a few of their big players. So they had Tevez and Roca Santa Cruz up front. They had De Jong and Gareth Bale centre mid, Ireland and Sean Wright-Phillips. Their company playing, Savinio, Nico Richards. So they had, do you know what I mean? They had a lot of respect for us going there to play them at their place. But we lost 5-1. So it's and we went 1-0 up. But listen, like you say, we went 1-0 up. We was brilliant, but they just turned on that second gear. It was just couldn't get anywhere near them. It was a great experience. So to draw them in the third round of the FA Cup, I think it was, or 4th round, at home this time, we thought, wow, this is different now. You know, we're not at the Big Etienne, and we're not going to their place. They're coming to us, and you know, any team that plays at home feels that you've got more of a chance. And so yeah, we went 1-0 down. Then I scored my volley to go 1-1, which again, like you say, feeling's fantastic. It didn't. Obviously, the Chelsea one pips it because that's the first time I've scored against a big club, and because you're 21 and that's at the bridge, it was different. But this one, again, it's on telly, you know, you're celebrating, and you know. But then, like I say, it was great. But then we went and lost, obviously 4-2. So it was just a wake up call, really. Then it was just back to normality. Like Nige says, listen, you know, it's over now. It's back to normality now. It's the league, bread and butter, and that's what I say. Like he enjoys the moment, but then he straight away he's like, right, bang, straight into it now. You know, this is what you get paid for, the league.
Yeah, I mean, in 2010, you decided to end your stay at Scunthorpe. You signed for Preston. How did that move come about, and why Preston?
Well, during the season, Scunthorpe wanted to extend my contract, which was fine. I was happy to do that because I thought we've got every chance of staying up. You know, the club's at the same ambition as what I am. It's in the Championship, and you know, I've scored obviously 33 goals. You know, in the last 2 seasons, and you know, they might be able to keep the players. And I thought this is great, but obviously they brought a player in the start of the season, and they paid a lot of money for, and he was on double what everyone else was on, and everyone knew. And so obviously my talks were basically, look, match his contract, so we're not miles behind, and sign it tomorrow on the negotiation sort of thing. And I said, look, I'm not trying to be unfair, but it's a bit, you know, for me, for what I've done for the club and how well I'm doing, I think I warrant what, you know, what the top earner's on. I said, I don't want more than him, but just the same as him. So we're all the same because we know that he's on double what anyone else is on. Do you know what I mean? The rest of us are on sort of similar. He's on double. Not the player's fault at all, not in the slightest. Do you know what I mean? But if the club are going to pay that, obviously you're saying, look, we're in the Championship now. You're going to get another £10 million revenue sort of thing. You know, it's, you know, the outgoings ain't great, ain't massive like bigger clubs. You can probably afford. Do you know what I mean? Now, if you're going to pay that, or don't expect to pay that if you're not going to pay anyone else. And to be fair, like I say, chairman himself, he was like a granddad to me. He really looked after me when I was 19. So I had a good relationship with him, but very sensible man. So negotiations going on. I just thought, you know what, we're getting to March now. We've only got 2 months left of the season. This has been going on since Christmas. And I thought, well, why don't I just concentrate on football? Instead of trying to sort out this contract, just concentrate on football, get to the end of the season and just see what happens, because we're still not staying up yet. So I just said to him, look, let's sort of concentrate on football. And as you do in the change rooms, you talk. I knew Grant McCann was out. Me and Grant were good friends anyway. So yeah, Grant McCann out of contract, Marcus Williams out of contract, Matthew Sparrow out of contract, Dave Murphy out of contract, and Gary Hooper was linked to every club possible. So I thought that's 6 of us in the starting 11.
Fine the team as well.
That is. So you think it's 6 out of the 11 out of contract here. That if I sign and them 5 don't sign, then what? So, you know, as you do, we talk and we say, look, have you sorted out your contract? I was like, no, couldn't get anywhere near it, blah, blah, blah. And I said, exactly the same. We're in the same boat. So, you know, I think we didn't really say, let's not sign, but I think we all knew, let's concentrate on football. Let's just obviously see where we're at and just see what's out there. Do you know what I mean? It's the first time I've been on a Bosman before. So let's just see what's about. And obviously, my agent saying so-and-so likes you, so-and-so likes you. Okay, fine. Let's talk at the end of the season. Still not saying no to Scunthorpe. So got to the end of the season. And then we stayed up. And then literally the next day, my agent phoned me and said, look, Preston want to sign you. Darren Ferguson want to phone you. I said, okay, you can phone me, no worries. So I'm obviously outside the front, as you do. You've got to do your gardening because it ain't been touched for the last, 6 months as a player because you keep making excuses up, didn't you? Can't bother to do gardening, like I'm tired. Do you know what I mean?
Back hurts.
Yeah, can't get injured. I've got games to do.
If it runs over my foot, I'll get on trouble, won't I?
Not that we get every afternoon and every Wednesday and Sunday off anyway. It's not like we work hard, do we? But kept putting things off. So I'm at the front thinking, I'm going to have to do this now. So Darren Ferguson calls and says, look, I want you to come across to Preston. Really keen on speaking to you. Bring your family across. We'll look after you. We'll just have a chat. So I was like, okay, look, we'll come across tomorrow. No worries. So we drove across. He was there in the car park, got us into the stadium. He said to the kit man, look after my wife at the time, but my ex-wife and my 2 boys. So he took them away into the club shop to show them around. Ferguson said, look, come into my office. I want to talk to you. Got in the office, closed the door, said, right, you ain't leaving till you sign this contract. I was like, what? I said, I thought we just having a general chat. He went, you're my number 1 signing. You ain't leaving till you sign this contract. He said, don't worry. We'll get it sorted. We'll fresh it out. Whatever you need or what you want, I'll look after you. You don't need to worry about anything. We'll get it sorted. I was like, wow, okay. This is interesting because on the way there, my agent was saying that there was potentially maybe going back to Norwich and Leeds and Nottingham Forest were interested in me.
Wow, big clubs as well.
Yeah, big clubs because, like you say, I'm on a Bosman, just stayed up. Obviously, I've got voted player of the season as well. I scored 13 goals in the Champ and then 1 in the FA Cup against Man City. So 14 goals in the season. I thought, well, if Martin Patterson got a move for 1.3 million and he got 13 goals, I like to think I've got a few clubs interested. So he said, look, they're potential. So but Preston's the only one that's shown a massive interest. So I was thinking, I don't really want to agree to something if I've got a possibility of going somewhere else. And to be honest, because I left obviously Norwich the way I did, I actually was really interested in possibly going back to Norwich. You know what I mean? I've finished business and going through there and knowing people there and stuff.
Yeah.
So we talked and sort of thing, thrashed it out, and then thrashed out a deal. Ferguson's obviously sitting with the chairman. He's thrashed out best deal he possibly can for me. Sorted it out. I was like, gone. Obviously, he said, look, me and Mage need to talk about this. Went out the room. He said, I know. Obviously, there's big, strong interest with Leeds, Norwich, and Forest. But he said that they probably want to talk to you, but that's next week. He said, you turn this down, there's no coming back from you. You can't do it. And obviously, Scunthorpe offered me their last contract, but again, it wasn't what the other player was on. It was about a few £100 less than what it was on, but it was a principle thinking. Do you know what I mean? If you would have maybe offered that to me 3 or 4 months ago, it might have been different. But the being the Preston, the ambition, Ferguson said to me straight away, he showed me the players he wanted to sign, and because his dad was at Man United, he said, look, I can get Danny Welbeck in because he was there a year or two before on loan, wasn't he? I can get a few more Man United players in. I'm obviously going to refurbish the club because they had a lot of players obviously there that he didn't, well, from the previous manager, and he wanted to bring his own players in. And he just showed me the players. I can't remember the name, but all the players I want to get. And he said, look, I'm looking to get promoted. I want to go up to the Prem. And I thought, wow, Scunthorpe can't get to the Premiership. It's impossible. So I thought, this is what an opportunity is for me here now to really kick on. Yeah. So, sort of like I say, fresh out the deal. Saw obviously what could happen. Signed the deal. I went out to out the stadium, obviously onto the pitch, and what's there? Both my kids in Preston kits. So what's happened is Ferguson must have told the kit man to get my obviously give them my go in a club shop, get what they want, put them in their kit, and then go on the pitch. They even had Hayes on the back. I don't even know how. No number, but just Hayes on the back with the Preston kits on, running around on the pitch. And I just thought, it's a good thing I've signed his contract because I'll be in big trouble if I didn't. I'll have to take the kit off him.
Yeah.
So then, it was done and dusted. But then signed it, and then about 3 weeks later, there was big talks. The club might be going to administration. So there was all talks about the taking over the chairman and the club going to administration. And to be honest, it was a disaster because Ferguson couldn't bring in the players he wanted to bring in. And he already told the players that were there, you know, like your Neil Mellor, Richard Chaplow, Darren Carr, Neil Collins. Who else was there? There was a few others, but there's about 8 players that are basically Premiership / Championship players all their careers. He said he doesn't want them anymore, so he vanished them to the youth team, and so he could bring his own players in to get it all sorted, and he couldn't bring the players in he wanted. So we started the season really with the couple of our signings and mostly the young boys that weren't really ready, and it was a tough year.
I mean, yes, it sounds like things didn't really go to plan as time moved on. Did the potential moves to the likes of Norwich and Leeds play on your minds at the time?
No, not at all. As soon as I signed for a club, that's it, bang, I was ready. But I think maybe where, like I say, about my partnership with me and Hoops, I had to rekindle it with someone else, and I struggled. Obviously, we brought in Josh King, you know, the lad at Bournemouth. He came in on loan from Man United. He was only 18 or 19 at the time, and very raw. He struggled a lot. I struggled to play with him. He struggled to play with me. Played me and Chris Brown up front. Two very similar players, and we struggled a little bit because neither one of us could run in behind. John Parkin was there, and again, obviously, John is a beast. But I couldn't really play off him, and it was hard. I couldn't get a partnership with anyone, and I struggled anyway. But then not only that, I moved the family across, and the kids didn't settle in school. They was getting bullied. It was really hard for them. No one took to them because they thought they were, you know, outsiders. Both my cars got burgled. So I woke up in the morning. I come down the stairs. I open up the blinds. Both my cars were gone. It was like they've come through the back, took the keys, and then drove the car off. So it was just like club administration, didn't think I was going to get paid. Kids didn't settle at school, really struggled, got burgled. Couldn't get a partnership with anyone. We couldn't get the players in. It was just one thing after another. And anyone, like say, outside Preston just wouldn't notice it. But we got a lot of stick for it from the fans. It just struggled. And like I say, Barnsley, I had a chance to go. Ian Hume come obviously on loan from Barnsley. I had a chance to go to Barnsley, who had a little swap. And it was kind of like a fresh air really for me, that I thought, do you know what, I need a new start really, because even though I've only been here 3 or 4 months, it ain't starting for me. It's really hard. So yeah, and it was weird really, because Preston were bottom of the league and Barnsley was 6th. So it was like an upgrade loan for me.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, of course, you went to Barnsley on loan. Was negotiations quite quick to resolve with the idea of maybe just trying to get it away from the situation at Preston?
Yeah, straightforward. Like I say, I've always been a case, if the manager doesn't fancy me, I'm not playing, and there's another club comes in for me, I'll go and play. It doesn't bother me in the slightest. Do you know what I mean? Because if a club wants you, you got every chance of playing well for them. If a club don't want you, you're not really going to play well. So I just thought my chances are going to be a little bit limited playing at Preston, even though I didn't want it to be. You got Ian Hume, John Parkin, Chris Brown, Josh King. Do you know what I mean? There's 5 or 6 strikers here. So I just thought I'll go to Barnsley. Forwards come out, I can go in. Mark Robbins obviously phoned me and said, look, I want to bring you in. I've always fancied you as a player. I want to bring you in. I'd like to work with you. And I just thought it's a loan. Do you know what I mean? It's a freebie loan till Christmas, and just see how it goes. And because I've been at Barnsley and had good success there previously, I thought it's a no-brainer. So I went there and I really enjoyed it. Really enjoyed it. One of my good friends, Bobby Hassel as well, who's godfather to my children, and I'm godfather to his, and it was good to be back playing with Bob.
You know what I mean? Then you then signed for Charlton. I moved down south. What was the attraction for Charlton at that time?
Moving down south at the size of the club, it was humongous. Like I say, I had a 3-year contract at Preston. So after the first year we got relegated, I had 2 years left. And the big problem was when I come back from Barnsley. So Ferguson signed me, obviously, but loaned me out. But I had big respect for Ferguson anyway. I thought he was a great manager. I come back off loan from Barnsley to Preston, and Fergie already got sacked before then. So David Unsworth, who's a great man, by the way, great man. He called me back and said, Paul, why don't you come and play for me? Took 2 games, or a game I think it was, we played, and then they brought in Phil Brown, and that was a recipe of disaster. So me and didn't really play under Brown. None of the players really took to him either. He really struggled at Preston, really arrogant, and it was terrible. Like I say, terrible sort of 6 months there with him. And he just said end of the season, he just called me in and said, look, you need to find yourself a club. So my response was, well, you need to find yourself a checkbook, because I've got 2 years. I ain't going to go anywhere till I get my money.
I bet he didn't realise that, did he?
Well, then obviously things kick off, didn't they? He's like saying, all you do is you don't care about this, you don't care about that. I said, well, you walk away from your contract then. You wouldn't do that. So
I think the thing is, Paul, is that this is the perfect case is that why we do these podcasts as well, is that in that sort of scenario where you've got 2 years left on that current deal, a lot of people in that situation, a lot of fans would sit there and go, he's just being selfish. He won't walk away from the football club because of this, and this. But what they don't realise is that obviously what you just told us about what had happened to your family, they don't obviously realise that part. And then also the 2 years. Now, if you just completely just cancel that contract and rip the contract up, then you might not have a club to go to. And what about your family security? And that's what then you've then got to think about, haven't you? Is that it's a job at the end of the day as well. And without you earning, your family then can't survive as well, can they?
I think so. And like you say, I know, listen, footballers do get paid a lot of money. Obviously not everyone, because obviously it depends on the level, it depends on the club, it depends on your CV and what they think of you. Definitely. Do you know what I mean? I know there's players in League 2 that don't even have a normal wage, that are below, that you're thinking, how are they living on that?
Yeah.
But then you know that there's Championship players that are, like you say, on, 30 grand a week. And it's like, the comparison is massive. But I think the thing, like you say, now in my head there is, I think the big thing is, it's like, you working for a company, you're doing well, you're earning good money, you're doing all right for yourself. And then the company just say, right, you're going to leave this contract and you're going to go with this company here, which ain't as good, on 50%. You tell me how many people would just walk away from a contract for 2 years and then just go to another company 50% or 60% less and be happy about it and just get on with it, because they know maybe in a year's time that company might say, right, we're going to get rid of you. You're going to go to this company now. You're going to take another 50. Well, in a year or two, you just taken 90% wage cut.
Yeah.
And then you're saying,
no one in the right mind would do it, would they?
So it is really hard, because it's like you say, you need to make sure that you're financially fine for when you retire. Not as in like you don't need to work again, but you've got some of your house paid off a little bit, because that's important, and you've got a little bit of savings and things like that. So I don't know, it's a tough one, but my comments were purely because I hated Phil Brown, and he didn't like me at all. And the way that he just come out and went, you need to find yourself a club. Well, I was witty enough to say, well, I'm getting your checkbook out and I'll find myself a club. That's not a problem. Because if you sell me, then that's fine. You're getting your money. I can move on. I can do that. But if you just tell me you're going to rip up my contract, that can't happen. So we have to negotiate. And that's why, like you say, players leave clubs because, and if anything, and like any player that leaves a club, he never, ever, ever, ever gets 100% of his money. Never.
No.
So if you've got 2 years left, you can get anywhere from half a year to 18 months of your contract. So they are actually saving the club money. They're saving the club tax, national insurance, and the rest of the money. So, no matter what you look at a player, when players leave, they do actually save the club money.
Yeah, I mean, like we just said earlier, it was Charlton, your next destination. It was back home. It was back down south. It was under Chris Powell. Your first season, obviously your first and only season there, it ended in promotion. You played 22 games. You went on loan to Wycombe. Kind of sum up that whole season. It must have been a bit of a bittersweet that you played 22 games. They won the league, but you ended up going on loan. Sum up that campaign.
Probably the one season that I can say was unbelievable, but also a tiny little bit disappointing myself.
Yeah.
But I had an amazing year, if that makes sense. It's really weird. Yeah. So, like I say, obviously, I left Preston on the black cloud. Like I say, we got relegated, left the club, which obviously happy to do. Moved back down south for the first time since 16 as well. So, been waiting sort of, like you say, 12 years to live back down south again, which I had the opportunity to move into Southend when I was at Barnsley, but they stored it, so I couldn't move back down south. Great opportunity. I can sign for Charlton. I can live in Essex, around my family and friends I haven't seen or been around for the last 12 years. It's perfect. And like I say, I went and looked around the club and I just thought, this is fantastic. To play for Charlton, this size of a club, and listen, Preston's a big club, but I'm a southerner. So playing for a club that's near me, the size of it in the history was unbelievable. So obviously Chris Bell signed me in, and Pally's a great guy. And it was really weird, really, because I think Charlton struggled the year before, but where Pally done really well is he recruited really well. So he brought in 18 new players that start the season, which is a heck of a lot of players. But what he done really cute is that he brought the best player from each club in League One, basically. So you got Dale Stevens from Oldham, you got Danny Green from Dagenham and Redbridge, you got Royce Wiggins and Danny Hollins from Bournemouth, Matt Taylor from Exeter, Michael Morrison from Leicester. Obviously, the Championship anyway going down, but Young Camagan from Leicester. It was just, the list was just going on. The amount of players that it was just bringing in, and we all got together. Took us to Spain, and he just kicked off. It was just brilliant. And obviously, I can't tell you what happened out there because there's a few people playing at the moment. They will get in trouble, but what happened out there was just geared us up for the season. We broke curfew basically, and we got in a lot of trouble for it. A lot of trouble. So yeah, we've done that, and then it was a case of, right, that's done now. We've got to really kick on now this season. It's really important, and we just, every time we won or things going well, we just always report back to our instance in Spain, where a few of us got into trouble, and it was just brilliant. Like I say, I started the season, me and Bradley right up front, and Brad was probably, like I say, since I obviously playing with Gary Hooper, he was the best one I've played with. Just the intelligence, the chemistry, the link up, the understanding of each other. It was really good, and we like I say, I started scoring 3 and 7 or whatever it was, 3 and 6. Brent's went and scored sort of 5 and 8. Ewan Camagan come in, and Yang come off the bench, scored, and just took my place. And to be honest, he just you got to hold your hand up sometimes and say, look, when the player comes in and does better than you, they deserve to keep their place. And Jan was just unreal that season with Bradders, and I just had to bide my time and wait for it. And like I say, the frustrating thing was that we played the first 9 games, won 8, drew 1, or whatever it was unbeaten, and we was top of the league. But yet, me and Scott Wagstaff got dropped, and Danny Green and Ewan Canagan come in and just carried it on. And normally, when you're unbeaten and you're top of the league, you don't change your side. But because them two come in and done better than what we did, we just had to find ourselves sitting on the bench at the team at the top of the league. And like I say, so it was a little bit frustrating, but totally done it. But it was brilliant. You know, the training was great. Chris Powell was brilliant. The lads were fantastic. We all got along. It's the only place really I could think of that we went for meals together. We went, you know, out together. We obviously went round at each other's houses. It was really, really good. The group of lads were really good. And I say we got 101 points that season, got promoted, and it was brilliant. But like I say, I had to go out on loan at the time, and it was good. It was brilliant.
Yeah, how did you come back to Wycombe? And was it a case that you needed to go out and play some games?
Yeah, it was weird really, because at the time there was me, Simon Francis, and Gary Doherty that weren't in the side. Like, we were just definitely Gary Doherty and Simon Francis couldn't even get themselves on the bench. And I was sort of flirting a little bit with the bench, but then mostly sitting in the stands. So Doc phoned me, Gary Doherty, and was like, "Wycombe's come on loan for me. What do you reckon?" I was like, "I think you should go, Doc. I think you should play." He said, "I think they're coming for you as well." I said, "Doc, no one's coming for me. No one's spoken to me." He said, "They have, AZ. Listen, they have. Me and you're going to go." I was like, "Doc, shut up." I went in the next day. Pally pulled me in and said, "Oh, Wycombe's coming for both you and Doc." I was like, "What do you want to do?" I said, "Listen, Pally," I said, "Look, I ain't playing it. It might do me the world of good to just go and play some football for a month." So talked about it. I come out. Doc went, "What did you say?" I said, "Look, I might go." He went, "AZ, I'm not going to go unless you go." I said, "Tom, you're a Premiership player. Like, why do you have to go?" He went, "AZ," he said, "we can't go there. I can't get on, man. We got to go together." I was like, "Come on." And Doc's a really funny guy as well. Anyone you speak to, like, Doc's really funny. And he said, "Look, AZ, I'm only going to go. We go as a partnership. We either go together or we don't go." So I was like, "All right, Doc." So we thrashed out the deal, sort of thing. And then I thought, you know what? At least I know Doc. I don't really know. I know Matt Bloomfield at Wycombe, I know his brother, but didn't really know too many other players. And obviously, me and Doc went there. But yeah, we've gone from Charlton at the top to Wycombe down the bottom, sort of thing. And it was really weird, because 2 games before that they played Huddersfield on telly and they got beat 6-0 at home. And Doc was saying, "AZ, we can't go there, mate. Our reputation will be hindered forever." Do you know what I mean? He said, "We could be going to the worst team ever here." So I was like, "Listen," I said, "Look, just back yourself." Like, I said, "Look, we'll just go there." I said, "Look, we'll be fine." So we went there, and obviously Chris Hackett and Craig Eastman, all 4 of us went on the same day on loan, sort of thing. And the manager, Gary Waddock, was saying, "Listen, we're struggling, but we need some men in the team at the moment." So it was weird, because obviously, because they're on a losing streak, we turned up to the game, and Gary Waddock come in, and the music playing, turn the music off, and he should put this long mirror in the change room. And he said, "Don't want to say anything. I just want you to be quiet and just listen." And then he pressed play, and it was Michael Jackson, Man in the Mirror. And this big mirror is just facing us, right? And I'm looking around, I'm thinking, what the fuck have I done here? What is happening here? I'm thinking, this is new to me. I'm looking at Doc, and Doc's like, oh. So then obviously we're see some of the players like sort of like thinking, "What? I don't understand this sort of thing." Anyway, the song's come. He went out. He come back in. He said, "Right, that song there resembles you now. You got to look at every one of you. Got to look at yourself in the mirror. You're not doing enough. You need to do more." And then went out and played Huddersfield. We won 5-0. And listen, no matter what people say about sometimes team talks or team tactics or things like that, like you say, been in sides before where you get everything spot on, everything right, like say Cardiff, and you're thinking, right, got to keep them quiet. New stadium, went out there, lost 4-0. You got Gary Waddock that just put a mirror in front with Michael Jackson's song on, no other team talk, went out there and beat Huddersfield 5-0. And this is a team that hadn't won in sort of like 10 games, down the bottom, struggling. And I scored 2 goals, the other 4 scored 2 goals. Even Doc got a goal, and Doc hadn't scored for about 5 years. So it was like, this is meant to be. But I loved it. Like my loan at Wycombe was brilliant. It was just what I needed, because I hadn't played for a while. I played 6 games, scored 6 goals, and we got a team that was bottom of the league, and we got them up to outside the relegation zone, and really pushing on, sort of thing. And it just went hard, because the deadline was on a Thursday. And so Gary Waddock phoned up Chris Powell and said, like, "Are you going to call Paul back or Doc?" And he said, "No, you can have them. Like, got our players. They're doing well there. You keep them." So he didn't get a forward in. Friday morning when I'm driving to Wycombe, Gary Wood phoned me and said, they've only called you back. I said, what are you talking about? He said, they've called you back. I said, what? I said, look, I'm nearly at Wycombe now. So I've gone in there, I chatted to him in the room. He said, yeah, he said, big Jan Kernigan's gone down ill. And Pally wants you to go back because you're starting for him tomorrow at Huddersfield, away. I was like, what? This is mental. Like, he just said yesterday. He said, I know. He said, he's killed us because we can't get a forward in there. So then I had to get in my car, drive to Charlton training ground, train a little bit, up to Huddersfield. We went, played the next day. I think we lost 1-0, whatever we did. That was only one of our 4 losses that season, actually. And then I think I was on the bench the next game, come on, and then that was it. I just sat in the stands. That was it to the end of the season. So
Did you say anything
there was only about 8 games.
Chris about it?
Pardon?
Did you say anything to Chris about that? Season?
Yeah. No, listen, I spoke to Pally about it, and I said, like, look, I'm training really well at the moment. You can see that I'm training well. I think I warrant at least a bench. Like I said, I don't expect to start. You got Jan and Brad scoring goals for fun. Like I said, but I warrant a bench. Pally was like, you're right, Paul. You are doing well. I think you do warrant a bench. I said, yeah, I know, Pally, but you're the only one who can change that. I can't. You pick the bench. Obviously Gaffer, but not Pally. But no, he just went with Danny Haynes and Leon Clark because what it was is we had a Spanish owner and he brought them 2 players in on his own accord. Not
right.
Pally wasn't too keen on them. And listen, sometimes politics runs football, so you had to just eat humble pie and just had to wait. And then, like you say, got buzzing for the lads, got promoted, got my medal, and then it was I say that, so like it was an unbelievable season, but a little bit disappointed. But listen, I love the club, love the place, love the players, love Pally. It was all good. I just wished I played a little bit more.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah. Then August 2012 rolls round. I mean, you moved across London to Brentford. You didn't really start off with a bang. You scored your first goal for the club in October. I mean, did that really impact you settling in on the club at all?
Really, do you know what? It was really hard. I think so. I knew obviously Charlton didn't want me. It's pre-season. Obviously, they went away to Spain again, and I got left behind with Leon Clark. Me and Clarkey got left behind. So they didn't want Clarkey either. So I had a chance to go on loan a couple of times, but the owner said, "You ain't going out on loan. You're leaving here fully," sort of thing. So I thought, well, I can either sit here and keep playing for the 23s. And my career just goes down the pan for a year, and then who's going to want you? Well, so I had 2 years left on my deal. Do you know what I mean? But thinking, can I do this for 2 years? Yeah, that's going to be the case. Or do I just go and play football? You know, I've got Brentford that want to sign me, so I went across. Obviously, spoke to Uwe Rosler. At the time, was brilliant the way he spoke about football and what he wanted to do, and really intelligent man. And then obviously signed a 3-year deal with them. And then I think if you ask any player, I think you get a gut feeling if you, like I said about Barnsley, when I walked in, I thought, this is right for me. When I went into training the first couple of times, I thought, there's something wrong here. It just didn't feel right. My problem was that I was travelling every day from Essex to Brentford, and it was taking me at least 2 hours in the car. And it was really hard because I couldn't commute. I couldn't live over there. It was too expensive. I didn't want to move my family again. So kids were settled in their schools. I'd just either had to get a train across, which took me just over 2 hours, or drive across, which took me over 2 hours every day. So I'm commuting 4 hours. Uwe wanted us in at 9 o'clock, and it was very regimented, very much like an army. Do you know what I mean? It was like it was really strict. Like everyone in at 9. Do you know what I mean? No one's late. So I'm leaving at 6:30 in the morning to get across to make sure I got in for 9. No one's leaving till sort of 3:30 time, 4 o'clock time. It was just, it was hardly having any days off. It was just everything I'm used to. Every other club I've been at has never been that way before, whether you're in the Championship, League One or League Two sort of thing. And Uwe Rosler had his way. We had to wear shin pads in training, had to wear our black socks up and over our knees to make sure that obviously that's what it was. You had to make sure that if one person wore a jumper, everyone wore a jumper. If you take it off, everyone had to take it off. It was just, do you know what I mean? It was just, there was too many rules. It was too regimented. It was, pardon?
That's weird.
You tell me. So being sort of, 29 at the time, I think I was, and all the experiences and the things I've been at, I just thought, this ain't for me. Like this is really, really, really strange. But I say, me and Uwe didn't really take to each other. Like, to start with, we were fine, but then we just didn't take to each other. And he wanted things from me that I couldn't give, and then I wanted things from him that he couldn't give back to me. And it just recipe for disaster. Really, 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 really bad. And it just went sour, really bad. So struggled, like I say. If he started me, I'll come off after about 55, 60 minutes. Really, I think I might have played 190 minutes in my whole time at Brentford, because, like I say, or if I was sub, I was coming on for 20 minutes. So that's why my goal ratio was really poor, because it's, do you know what I mean? A lot of my goals are either at the start or at the end of games in my career, if I notice. So when you only got 16 minutes, you know, or if you play 60 minutes and you don't score, you're not playing the next game. And it was just a hard sort of thing. And then I remember him calling us in, and Clayton Donaldson was doing well. And he just said to us forwards, Clayton's going to start every game. Even if he don't score for 5 games, he's going to start. So that leaves one more position for between you 3 forwards. That's it. So in training, you're thinking, right, one place for us 3 forwards, really. So it was like I say, it was just really hard. But like I say, the players were great. We had a good team. Like I say, you got Harley Dean, Adam Forshaw, Stuart Dallas, Jonathan Douglas, Tony Craig, Moore in goal. Do you know what I mean? We had Harry Forrester. We had Sam Saunders. We had a really, really good team for League One. But it just, some of them took to Uwe, and some of us just didn't, and we just struggled. And it was just really hard.
I mean, yeah, you eventually went to Crawley for a little bit as well. Was that simply the case of just changing up the surroundings?
100%, yeah. So obviously, I wasn't really featuring that much. I was on the bench, coming on a little bit now and again, but Uwe he lost patience with me. He didn't want me around the place, and I wasn't happy there. And his words were, what he said to other people, that I'm cancer, that I'm around the change room, I'm cancer, and he said he needs to get rid of me. I'm a bad apple. And no one's ever said that to me about me before, and that's what really surprised me. Listen, obviously you spoke to Gareth. You can speak to obviously a lot of people. I like to think that people don't think of me as a word, like you say, cancer or a bad apple, but that's what he said to the coaching staff, because one of them told me. And I just thought, you know what, I don't want to be here anymore. Do you know what I mean? I'm travelling 4 hours a day. I'm away from my family 4 hours of the day to get here, to try and train, to try and do this. Like, I'm not having this. So Crawley come in for me. Richie Barker was a manager, and I jumped at the chance. I thought, 1, it's closer. 2, I'm going to play. And it was brilliant. I was there for 2 months. Fantastic. The way Richie Barker had him going, sort of thing. I loved it. It was brilliant. And unfortunately, like I say, season ended. Brentford, obviously the history was obviously the penalty with should have scored, hit the crossbar, gone up the other end. Doncaster scored, and then they got promoted, and Brentford got into the playoffs. And so I've had to come back knowing that me and Uwe have not seen eye to eye, and then I've had to see the first game on the playoff, not playing, not involved in it. And then I just went in and had a massive moan at him, saying I've gone out on loan to do well, score goals, got fit, and now I've come back, I can't get on the bench for you. So I sort of bullied myself away to get back on the bench, and then I got on the bench and got on in the playoffs, which was nice.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, reflection of that player is obviously having a relationship with a manager, but then also being involved in, quite high pressure games.
Sorry, I lost that last bit, that first bit. Sorry, what did you say?
I was saying, what was your recollection of that time, like specifically that playoff campaign? Obviously, it must have been quite strange having a strange relationship with the manager, but then playing a part in such high pressure games anyway.
Yeah, I think the way I worked it at that time was I just thought, what have I got to lose? Like, I've got a manager here that has no faith in me whatsoever, and doesn't rate me, and doesn't like me as a person. And it was the other way around. I didn't rate him as a manager because of what he was doing and what he was doing to me, and the way he was conducting things in a way. And also, I just thought, well, he don't believe in me, I don't believe in him, but who am I really playing for? I'm playing for myself here. So, and obviously I'm representing Brentford, so I'll do the best I can. So I just thought, if I get on that field, I can't do any worse. Do you know what I mean? Don't rate me anyway, so it doesn't matter. So I had a job to do, and I just thought, you know what? I'll go out there and do the best I can. And I come on, the second leg, and done all right. And then we got to penalties, and it's actually funny really because my debut for Brentford, he asked me if I'm a penalty taker, and I said, yeah, I've scored penalties all the time. And I was on the bench the first game. I come on, and we got a penalty against Yeovil, and I missed it. and I just thought, oh, how's your Donald Duck? Do you know what I mean? Like, I don't miss penalties, and it was my debut for Brentford. I missed. I just thought this that's probably summed up my career at Brentford actually. But yeah, no, we got to the playoffs semis. Second leg, went to penalties against Swindon, and I took the second penalty. I think Harry Forrester was a penalty taker, so he took the first one, and obviously backed myself. I thought, do you know what, I'm taking this. Obviously, you get a little bit of nerves because you think I've missed the last one, and my time at Brentford here has been quite poor and stuff like that. But stuck it away nicely, and then we won, got to the final. But Yeovil were better than us. They beat us twice, home and away that year, and then they beat us in the final. So they fully deserved to go up, and they were better side than us. But got the last 20 minutes obviously coming on, and it was that was the end of the first season, and we were going back into pre-season, and I knew that he didn't fancy me at all. Took me up to Port Vale first game of the season. I was on the bench, didn't even put me on. Second game, couldn't even get on the bench. Second game, and third game weren't on the bench, and then he made me play in a reserve game, or the 23s game. But I was the only pro that was playing. Everyone else was kids at the training ground. I just thought, I've lost my top here now. My fuse is gone. This is it now. And played, hardly moved. But I managed to score a goal, which was really, really, really strange. So I think we won 2-1, and like I say, I was awful because I just didn't want to be there. I was, like I say, my fuse is gone now. I've lost my head. And then he phoned me up. Woke up to like a few missed calls from him. 9 o'clock in the morning, whatever it was. I see Ray Forrester calling me on a Wednesday morning. Never calls me. And he was like, and then we just had it out for about an hour on the phone. He just said, like, you was a disgrace yesterday. You didn't do this, you didn't do that. Yeah, but I scored though. I scored the winner. He said, he just started like bad mouthing me. I said, hang on a minute. I said, you've given me nothing. The last 18 months, you've done nothing for me. The way that you conducting yourself, the way you are, I said, like, you know, you're by far the worst manager I've played under. The way that, you know, and I said, I haven't played, there's a couple that I spring to mind. I said, but you by far, and I say, we said some harsh things to each other. And that was it. He just said, like, you know what? He said, I don't want you around the place anymore. He said, you either come in at 7:30 in the morning and train on your own, or you come in at 4 o'clock and you train then. That's it. I don't want you around no one. I said, so you're telling me that I can only train on my own, either first thing in the morning or in the afternoon? He said, yeah. He said, you choose which time you come in, but I don't want you around any of the players. You're too bad for them. I said, it's funny you say that because you're the only manager that's ever said that to me in my career. I said, I've had about 10 managers now, I'm nearly 30. No one's ever said that to me apart from you. I said, do you not think it's your fault? Do you not think it's your thing? You're not taking any responsibility for this? And he just took nothing for it. He just blamed it all on me. I said, I am. I said, do you know what? I said, I'll be in at 4 o'clock every day. So then for 2.5 months, I think it was, I just trained at 4 o'clock on my own with the assistant manager. I got the PFA involved. I spoke to people. No one hardly do anything for me. So I was disappointed with the PFA and stuff like that. But yeah, I was in doing that. And a few times I phoned in ill. A few times I come in late just to make a point. Mark Warburton, the QPR manager, was a sporting director then, and he was just saying about, you've got to be in this, otherwise take wages off you. I said, well, you can't take wages off me because I'm in at a certain time. I'm still training. And then that was it. And then obviously we just agreed for me to leave. And then that was it. I was done.
Yeah. Your contract was terminated in December, eventually, and you re-signed for Scunthorpe until the end of that season. You actually end up getting a promotion, didn't you? When you re-signed.
Yeah, I did.
I mean, that must have been the perfect time in your career for that to come along, and then for it to end in such success. You must have been so happy.
Yeah, I think which is good because I left Brentford under a cloud, obviously. Because again, obviously, you know, you get paid up, and you got a little bit of money there to sit on to make a decision what you want to do. So I just mind my own business. To be honest, obviously, me and my ex-wife had just moved into a house about a year ago. Before that, only a couple of miles down the road. but we got an extension, and I was painting at the time, so I was just painting away, and then I saw my phone go off, and it was Russell Wilcox, the Scunthorpe manager, and so I had obviously Brian Laws, my first manager, and Nigel Atkins, my second manager, who was physio at the time, and then Russ now is a manager who was assistant manager both times. And he phoned me and said, like, Paul, I see you left Brentford. I said, yeah, obviously. It was terrible. Do you know what I mean? I needed to get out of there. They need to get rid of me. And he said, what are you going to do with yourself? I said, I don't know, Russ. I said, I thought about it, but it's only been a week now. No one's really phoned me. No one's done anything. Agent's been to a few people. That's it, really. And he said, strange one here, but would you, he said, look, if you want to come and train, you can do. I said, look, Russ, I'm in Essex. Like, I'm not going to travel 4 hours up the road to train to come back home again. So 2 hours is enough for Brentford. I ain't going to travel 4. So he was like, all right, he said, would you think about coming back to the end of the season? I said, possibly, Russ. I said, like, it's always gone well. So sorted it out. I went up there. I trained for a couple of days. We talked about a contract, sorted it out. And I just thought, you know what, I'm playing back for the same club that, you know, I left on, you know, when I was in the Championship. Now they were in League Two, gunning for promotion. I thought, you know what, it's probably right for me. Obviously, it's the first time I'm going to be away from my family, really. So I'll do it. So signed from January to May, and it was good. Do you know what I mean? Getting back to playing football, being around it, and feeling important, really, compared to Brentford. I just felt like nothing, and it was good times. Do you know what I mean? It was good. Russ got us going good, and there was I think they won 28 games unbeaten or 32, whatever it was. So they got the record of an unbeaten run in any football team as well, which was good to be part of. But yeah, we got promoted obviously last game of the season, come second, and another promotion, which was nice.
Yeah, did you sense when you returned back to Scunthorpe that as soon as you walked back through the door that team was going to go on and be successful?
Yeah, I know they'd be good. I commentated on 2 of their games. I think one was at Portsmouth and one was at Crawley during that season, because I wasn't doing anything on Saturdays with Brentford. I was obviously having it off. The reporter at Scunthorpe said, "Oh, would you do some radio for us, like Southern clubs?" I said, "Yeah, no worries, I'll do that, no worries." So obviously I actually watched Scunthorpe twice that season anyway, and I thought, you know what, I quite like the way Russ has got it here. Do you know what I mean? 4-4-2, but energy. Do you know what I mean? They've got energy and they've got some ability there. And so I thought, you know what, they score goals for fun. Like, reminds me obviously when I left. So I went and trained with the boys, really good bunch of lads, really good ability. And I knew Russ anyway, known him when I was 19, so I knew Russ would get him going. And it was, I knew they had a good chance of getting promoted, and I just, like I say, just rided the wave.
I mean, yeah, summer 2014 rolls around. You joined Wycombe on a 2-year contract. I mean, what was it about Wycombe and the manager, obviously Ainsworth, that attracted you back to Wycombe?
Well, knowing Gaz when I was there on loan the first time, he was a player coaching at the time, and me and him got along really well. I had a lot of respect for Gaz anyway. And then it was funny, really, because right at the end of the season, I was playing for Scunthorpe against Wycombe, and we only needed a win or 2 to get promoted, and they were down the bottom, and they needed something at Wycombe, because they were playing us and they were playing at home the last game of the season, I think, to Torquay, wherever it was, to stay up. And I had mixed feelings. I was thinking, I want us to get promoted, but I don't want Wycombe to go down. So we drew 1-1 anyway, but I spoke to Gaz afterwards, and I said to him, like, listen, more likely I'll probably be leaving here. I said, because I can't do this for a year. It's too far away from my family. I said, would, possibly coming back? And Gaz went, I'll take you tomorrow. No worries at all. He said, let us stay up and then we'll talk end of the season. So I kept in contact. Wycombe stayed up, and then straight away Gaz phoned me and said, get yourself across to Wycombe. Let's talk about this. So I drove across to Wycombe, was in the training ground for about an hour and a half, just chatting to him, as we did. The director was in there. We freshed out a deal. And I said, I just wanted to play for Gaz, and I just wanted to play for Wycombe again, because I had such a good time there for that month. Obviously played for Scunthorpe in the League Two the year before we got promoted. I just thought, what, why not? Like, it's a great club. I can get myself, there's nothing worse. Like, I was very fortunate in my career that I never had to wait around for a club to sign me. I was always proactive, and a club would offer something to me. So it was a case of, if I turn this down, I might not get a better deal. I might not get a better club. I might not get a better location club. So and I'm playing for Gaz in the club, so I knew all about it. So it's fantastic. So I didn't have to think about it. Just brushed it out, 2-year deal. Let's get this done, and then we can move on. So yeah, he done that, and then again, Gaz said to me the mistakes that he'd done the year before when everyone was calling him Gaz. He was too loyal to players. He was letting them do things. He said, like, next season, I'm changing everything. He's going to be called Gaffer. Training's going to be like this. It's going to be tough. These are the players I'm going to bring in. And he stuck to his word, and it was fantastic. It was brilliant, and it was fantastic. He made me captain straight away as well, straight into pre-season, which was an honour to me because the first time I've been made captain at a club, and it was just thinking that, you know, in a year before that, I was at Brentford to get told I'm cancering a bad egg. To a year later, I got a manager here that got every faith in me and made me captain and made me that middleman in between the group and him, and it was surreal. It was brilliant, and loved the season, loved the club as well. It was brilliant.
I mean, yeah, you've seen help to your side to that playoff final in 2015. I mean, what was your recollection of the playoff campaign overall?
Really surreal. Like, so itself was basically on its legs for finance. There was so much in debt. The old owner put them in so much debt supposedly, and they didn't pay their debts, and they were really, really struggling for money. So Gaz had to have a squad he was underpaying players, try and get rewards. But our goal was always purely to stay up. That was the club's goal, because they've only just scraped it with skin of their teeth last year, and we had a new owner called Andrew Howard, and he said we'll have a 5-year plan. The first year to stay up, second year to be mid-table, third year for flirt with the playoffs, fourth year to go up, and then fifth year to be in League One. So like as all businesses do, you have a plan. And that was new to our players. Right, okay. First goal is to stay up, get 52 points, stay up, done our job. And obviously that year I think we got to 52 points about Christmas time, just after Christmas time, I think it was. I think we were celebrating at Hartlepool away, I think it was, on our Christmas do, saying we've managed to stay up in League Two, sorry. And the club was happy and stuff, and but we went on from there, and I think we, up to that time until last season, we hit a Wycombe all-time record points of 84 points or 85 points, I think it was. And it was. Do you know what? We was in the top 3 right the way up until the last game of the season, and it was we was top, we was second, we was third, but we never ever dropped out of the top 3. And we played Morecambe at home, the second last game of the season, and we lost 1-0, and Morecambe were down the bottom, and then I think it was Southend that took over us in third, and we went down to 4th, going to the last game of the season, knowing that this is disaster, and then we just went into the playoffs, which was hard. Beat Plymouth, which was nice, and then we played Southend in the final.
I mean, yeah, talk to us as well about that Spurs game, eh? I mean, you bagged 2 goals in that game, first of which was absolutely brilliant strike. I can remember it so well on the volley. Just talk to us about that game.
Yeah, well, that was a couple of years after that. But yeah, no, that was surreal. Like, again, it was. So what was it? We weren't having the best time, actually. We was quite strong. I think it was like mid-table sort of thing, because we lost to South in the playoff final, and we couldn't get back to where we was, sort of thing. Was sort of in around certain playoffs, but I think it was mid-league FA Cup 3rd or 4th round. We were playing Blackpool as well in the JPT, I think it was, whatever it was, and we was up there in the hotel, and we got drawn Tottenham, and we were all celebrating. It's unbelievable playing Tottenham away, like surreal. So going into it was awesome. Funny enough, Gaz, I didn't know. Gaz, you said spoke about me. He weren't actually going to play me. So building up to that game, my form was hit and miss, because I was the last 2.5 years of Wycombe. Well, since that playoff final and stuff, I was training and playing injured. My Achilles cave in basically, and I was struggling massively. So I was having injections upon injections, and acupuncture and wave machines, and also every day I was having treatment on them. I was struggling. I was getting injured all the time. My calves were going all the time, so I was struggling. So my form couldn't get anywhere near to what it was. And we played Manfield away in like I say, the JPT Cup, and I think I was down to play that game, and Paris Town Hall wasn't. But because I got injured, I said to Gaz, I said, I can't play in this game. And so Paris played, and that was a game before the Tottenham game. And what happened was obviously Paris got injured. Paris pulled his hamstring. So the next game we played, like you say, sorry, we played a couple games after that. Anyway, Paris literally was just maybe being fit for the Tottenham game, and he was going to play Paris. But for some reason, and Gaz obviously pulled me just after the meeting. He said, said, Hazy, I weren't sure about playing you, starting you, but I'm giving you a nod. Go and do what you can do for me. I know you've done things before in the past in the cup. You know, go and enjoy yourself. But I have faith in you. And I said, all right, Gaz. I said, all right, Gaff. I said, you know, I really appreciate that, because you could easily go with someone else. I'll be disappointed, but I know that I haven't really been performing well. And this is the first time I said this, actually. I only said this in any other interview. And then yeah, after started the game, I was buzzing, jumping, captain at Tottenham away, and it was unbelievable. And literally after about, I kid you not, about 40 seconds. So there was me, Sam Wood, and then Akafem were down the middle. So we're the front three, and then Woody's put a cross in. Bale's at the back six, so I've run around the front of him. He's headed it back, and I've headed it. And I kid you not, I'm about a yard and a half away from the goal, and I've headed it onto the bar. It's gone over. And you know when I say to you have one chance in the game. So this is about first 40 seconds of the game. I thought, fucked up here. I'm never going to get this back. And it's right in front of our fans as well. And then we had a corner, and it's obviously looped up. And it's on my left, and I thought, I've got to concentrate here. Otherwise, it's going to go right above the stadium on my left foot, my weak foot. And as it's up in the air, I'm watching it come down. And because obviously I've got my coaching badges, and because I was coaching at Charlton as well in the academy, I say to the boys all the time, wait for the ball to get down as low as you can and keep your body over the ball when you volley the ball. So obviously keep the volley down. So as it's up in the air, I'm actually coaching myself, thinking, make sure it gets low, Paul. Make sure it's low. Make sure you get contact. Make sure your body's over it as the ball's up in the air. And then obviously I've volleyed it, and it's just gone straight in the top corner. I just thought, wow, have some of that. And I've just gone off celebrating. And then
well, you very nearly ended up sacking Pochettino before he ended up losing his job. A few years later, it would have all been down to Paway's, wouldn't it?
Well, the disappointing thing is, obviously, I looked a little bit of his book, and I'm thinking, surely he's going to mention the goal. But he was talking about, because obviously, one of my old coaches said, oh, he's wrote about you in the book. And I thought, that's brilliant. Do you know what I mean? That's brilliant, because obviously, Mourinho spoke about, obviously, Scunthorpe and about a little bit about me in his book, sort of things. I thought, these two great managers talking about me. And he said, about when we played Wycombe, it was hard because they play long ball. They've got a big centre forward that causes us problems. So my old coach said, he's talked about you. I went, he was talking about Akafemwa. When he was talking about me, didn't even mention the goal at all. I was hoping he was going to say, you know, Scunthorpe took a great, you know, the lad Hayes obviously scored a great goal to get them 1-0 up. But he didn't mention it. I was devoed.
You thought he was going to completely describe your whole goal in his book. I
just thought, sure, I know he's seen some great goals, but I'm thinking, surely he can say, look, a lower league club, a Wycombe, like a player, you know, has done this. But no, nothing. Devoed.
Yeah, I mean, after Wycombe, you decided to step out of the Football League quite briefly, should we say, and went to Hemel. What was the reasons behind stepping out of the Football League in the first place?
No, so what happened was obviously I left Wycombe, which was brilliant because Gaz really looked after me. He said, look, I know you've got another year left, or you got this year left. You know, you're not going to play. You know, obviously made captain someone else now because you're not really going to play for me. So it might be best that, you know, you move on just to play games because, do you know what I mean? You know, you should be playing games to get another year somewhere. I said, all right, Gaz, I appreciate that. So I left there. And then, what was it? A couple of clubs phoned me. But then the Hemel Hempstead manager phoned me, Dean. So I want to get you down here. I said, listen, I said, with all due respect, I'm not interested. I said, I've always said in the Football League, I said, look, He said, no, but what we can do is we can sign you on this contract, like a non-contract base, give you cash in hand. So give you cash in hand, which is obviously quite a lot of cash as well. You're fine. So, and then he said, we won't register your contract or your name. So then if another club comes in for you, just go. But he said, it's cash in hand. It might be a week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, but that's what you're going to get in your hand, to come and play, just to play a game of football. You don't even need to train, just come and play football. And then as soon as a football league comes in for you, off you go. And I thought, do you know what I mean? Cash in hand, it's extra money. Do you know what I mean? It might only be for 2 weeks, but it's quite a lot of money, this is. So I went down there, obviously. So I signed it. I thought, there's no harm in this. And then, because I was training at Charlton at the time, I spoke to Jason Yule. And Yuley went, easy, you can only play for 2 clubs in the season, but you could sign for free. So I was like, yeah, but that's outside the Football League. Surely you can only play for 2 clubs in the league, but you can play, because loads of people move around at non-league level.
Yeah.
And he went, mate, I wouldn't risk it. He said, imagine you play for them and then you can't play for anyone else. You've got to play for them at the end of the season. Do you want to do that? And I went, no, of course I don't. I said, I just want to play for them, just cash in hand. So it was like, double check. So I'm phoning the FA. I'm trying to get things involved. Charlton are phoning the FA for me because they wanted me to play in their county cup as well. But if I play for them, then I would have to sign for Charlton, which would have been a bit weird because obviously I've just left Wycombe in League Two and Charlton in the in the Championship. So that didn't happen. So then I got to Hemel Hempstead on a Saturday on match day, and I said to Dean, the manager, I said, look, I can't travel. I can't play with you. I can't travel. And he was like, look, I'll take your word. It's not a problem. I said, purely because if I play for you, Dean, it means I'll have to play for you. I said, I can't do that. So then I didn't play for him. And then Michael Flynn messaged me on LinkedIn about going down there. And so I said to Dean, I said, look, can you get rid of this contract because I'm going to go and sign for Newport. So I did it.
Yeah, I mean, it was only obviously very brief at Newport, but sum up your time at Newport and under Flinney.
No, it's brilliant. It's just what I needed. So literally as I left Wycombe and I left Hemel Hempstead at that time to go and sign for Newport, I went through a serious breakup with my ex-wife. And it was really, really hard. It really knocked me for 6. So Flinney obviously got in touch with me and he phoned me up. And Flinney's a funny guy, great guy. And so I knew, obviously, we know of each other, but never spoke to each other before. And he was like, easy, just get yourself down here. I'll look after you. Don't worry about anything. We'll roll around you. Not a problem. Get down here. And I just thought, Newport's a long way from Essex. But I thought, do you know what? It's maybe what I need. So freshed out a deal. And I thought, what else am I going to do? Do you know what I mean? Like, my life has turned upside down. I'm not in my headspace now, sort of thing. So I went down there, and it was honestly the best thing that could have happened to me at that time because, like I say, it was a nasty, horrible, bad breakup. The head wasn't right, and I wasn't really focused on anything. So obviously, I went there. But the problem is, and this is why I could. So I signed for Newport in October, I think it was, or wherever it was. But I couldn't play till January because I signed for Hemel Hempstead, and because they registered it, I couldn't play for Newport until January, until they can open up the transfer window again. So it sort of killed me, but it was a blessing in disguise because Fellini just said to me, "Easy, because you can't play, just come Tuesday, Thursday, train, and off you go for the weekend. Off you go." Yeah. So I was travelling there Tuesday, train, travel home, travel there Thursday, travel back. That was it for me for 2.5 months. It was brilliant.
Yeah, I mean, they speak. You're gone, Jacob.
No, you go, James.
They speak about obviously mental health quite a lot, Paul, didn't they, in football? And we've had obviously Josh Gallen, we've had Matty Fry on the podcast, and Chris Solly as well, and they've spoken quite a lot about mental health in football. How did you see that side of things, and did it ever did it play a part during the time of your career, and how important is it that men in football just speak out?
Yeah, I think, players at my age and older, it's been quite different really, because it was never talked about starting my career, never really talked about middle of my career. It's only really, like you say, openly come out towards, getting 30 onwards, sort of in the last sort of 5 or so years. So it's been really, really interesting to me. Obviously, I'm very lucky and fortunate that I don't struggle with mental health. And I'm just trying to think about in my career that I haven't really, there was one player at Wycombe that opened up to me, and he said to me that he has really bad depression and anxiety, and he was about killing himself, and he said to try and explain it to me. He said, like, he said, after training, I'm back in my house, in my room, feeling like this black thing over me. He said, I'm crawling into a ball and I just don't know what to do. And he said, like, I'm just all over the place. And he said, the only people that know is you, my agent, my mum and dad. They're the only people that know. And he said, I'm talking to you as like, you're a mentor. Like, I look up to you, like, that sort of thing. And I said to him, I said, look, the fact is that you've spoken to another person shows how brave you are in the first place. And I said, like, it is scary. And I said, like, I couldn't even bear to think what you're actually going through, how you feeling, sort of thing. I said, so it's really good. And I said, like, there's a couple of people that I know close to me in my life that have struggled with depression. I said, I can only go by what I've witnessed or what I've seen. And I said, like, they say the more they can talk to people, the more that it's out there. Not that it goes away, just they feel a little bit better. And that's the only experience I had in football with someone that's opened up or said that sort of thing. Obviously, it's coming out more now. Obviously, there's ex-players now saying that they really struggled in football and stuff like that. And it's just, it's hard to hear, and it's hard because some people, the life sort of thing. And listen, football is very much, and I'll tell you something, there's more lows than highs in football. No matter really, unless you are very lucky, like the elite players, majority of the time you have more lows than highs. And it does really kick you in the teeth. And, you leave football and you're nothing. Do you know what I mean? Your memories are just memories, and that's it really. So I get it. Do you know what I mean? It is that transition of being a somebody, having a purpose and being important, to no one calling you and no one really speaking to you, being normal. No one knows who you are anymore. You're a forgotten person. So, and a lot of people struggle with that, because I know a lot of players love that, love the attention, love being somebody, and then because they're not nobody, they obviously there's someone different now, or just come to the terms of it. Do you know what I mean? Just either financially, like, it's just you hit rock bottom, or job-wise, you're doing a job that you don't want to do anymore, or you're working longer, or you're having trouble at home because your partner's so used to a certain living or certain way that you are, and you're different now, or do you know what I mean? Or you're looking back on old stuff that you used to be, and you're envy of everyone and jealousy. Just the list goes on with that's just not football, but that's just most athletes, because you are so privileged and so lucky to do what you've done, and then when it's all over, it's done, and you've got to, ideally you want a plan, and ideally you want things to fall into place when you finish, because listen, whether you're playing Sunday League football or you're playing football professionally, if you like football, you love playing football, and once that's gone, and you just I don't want to say a normal person, because to me that define, there ain't normal, is there? Like, normal's not normal. Like, everyone's different. Do you know what I mean? So good on everyone for being different, but just the fact is, like, you're not doing something that you love anymore, and there's nothing you can do about it. And sometimes it's not your choice; it's someone else's choice. It's hard for people to take.
Obviously, you're a football agent now. That's what you've gone into, and of course you're coaching as well. Speak a little bit about how you got into football agent and why that route.
My idea is to be a manager. That's what I want to do, and that's what potentially that's what Gaz was trying to mould me into when I was at Wycombe, and that's why it was hard to leave, really, because he was trying to mould me into understanding things off the field, like Gary would have did with him at Wycombe to become a manager. So I've got all my coaching badge. I want to be a manager, but because of my breakup and because of the kids seeing each other when they see us, it's going to be hard for me to be a manager because you're mostly travelling all over the country or being all over the place. Hence why, obviously, when I left Newport, I went and played non-league football because it's right on my doorstep. Because I turned down a couple of League Two clubs at the time because I didn't want to be away from my kids. And so I thought, well, ideally, and listen, to become a manager as well, you've got to be lucky. So I can't sit around. So I thought the next best job in football is probably being an agent. But because I've had 4 agents before in my time, and 3 of them have been shit, like really crap. One has stung me for money. One neglected me, didn't want to get to know me, and one was fucking useless.
Wow.
Right? So, and then the last one, I was with him for 8 years of my career, and he become a good friend of mine. He come to my 30th birthday, come around my house. Really, really top guy. Jamie Hart, his name is. He's Paul Hart's son, who used to be the Portsmouth manager and stuff. So Jamie Hart, who's top man. We've got so much respect for him. Really looked after me. And so the experience I had as the agents, I just thought, how can you treat a player like that? How can you do that? And I was speaking to players as you in change rooms and stuff like that, saying about my agent does this, or I can't do this, or he's neglected me, or he's not telling me things, or he's lied to me. I just thought players just want to be told up front. Whether you're a manager or you're an agent, just be honest with them. There's too many lies in football. Honestly, there's 80% in football is lies. It is. And so I just thought, if I become an agent, at least I've gone through all the experience I've gone through as a player. They can't throw one thing at me and say, I'm going through this situation. What do you think? Because if you say that to 90% of agents, the only thing they say is go and speak to the manager. Yeah. Well, it's not that easy because the manager might be busy or he might be sick and tired. Like, for example, wherever he was, like, I used to knock on his door twice a week, 3 times a week. And he got to a stage, he turned around and went, Hazy, will you stop knocking on my door? I don't want to speak to you anymore. Yeah. And it's like, they're the sort of, when you say to an agent, the manager's saying this now, what should I do? Agent will say, well, just go and train harder. Well, it's not that easy. You know what I mean? I'll say to him, well, why don't you speak to the coaches? Why don't you, get in that a little bit earlier? Why don't you sit with the manager and sit lunch around him and just speak to him normally? Just see if there's a connection with him. Do you know what I mean? Try different things as you would do as a player. So I just thought, if I'm an agent, I can speak to players as I was one and try and give them the best advice. Or say to them, look, that club there won't be good for you because the manager there ain't a nice guy and you're a soft boy. So you want to go to a manager that gets his arm around you and look after you and, that sort of thing. So where agents just think about purely is like, I'm going to get extra money at this club, or I've got a good relationship with this club, so I'm going to do it. And I just like, do you know what? I've got a reputation in football. I've got a way of dealing with things. And I just thought, do you know what? I can maybe help out younger players or my mates or anything like that. And so I went into it, and I started working for a company, and it all went tits up. It went wrong. They were a company that. It was a recruitment company that just thought that recruitment and football can go together. Recruitment and football can't go together. It's impossible. Otherwise, every recruitment company would be agents. It's not like I could just go and get a player, get him to a club, because you got to deal with contracts. And do you know what I mean? It's like these agents have been agents for 20 years, and I'm Will Salthouse, who's one of the top agents. He's got his own thing. He's got Harry Kane as his agent, sort of thing, and. Top boy. He's the one that sorted out my deal at Preston as well. So I know him way back then, sort of thing. You're trying to set up a company. You can't compete with these people. No. It's taken 20 years to get where they're getting to. It can't happen in 6 months. So we was disagreeing a lot of things. They felt that I should be doing this. I felt that they should be doing that, or I should be doing this. And because they'd never been in football around players before, they had no idea. They was out of their depths. And they thought that I could do this way, and it just doesn't happen. So, so I left that company before Christmas, and just doing things on my own and just helping out players, either my own players or players that are around me, sort of thing. So I've just gone into that really, and it's just more of a freelance sort of self-employed one, really.
Perfect. Just to finish off, Paul, we always ask every guest their best 6-a-side team with the players that they've played with.
Okay. Am I a manager or am I the player?
You're the manager. So if you could have 6 players under you that you'd pick.
Okay.
Who would you go for?
We're going for a 2-2-1 or?
You can go for anything you like, mate. If you were to have a 6-side team, what formation would you
To be
play?
fair, I ain't played with many good defenders, so I might only pick one.
You can have one. We had, who do we have on? We had Craig McCall-Smith the other day on, and he picked.
Macca, yeah, what a great guy he is.
He picked one defender, and his one defender was Wayne Bridge.
Not a bad one. Not a bad one. That's good. That. Okay. Yeah, I'll go with one defender as well because I don't. Yeah. All right, so we have to go with goalkeeper. Yeah. Okay, I'll go goalkeeper. I'll go Andrew Lonergan.
Yeah.
Yeah. So obviously, third choice, obviously at Liverpool at the moment, but I played with him at Preston. Brilliant. Made saves. To be fair, it's hard really because I want to go with Jamal Blackman. I had him at Wycombe. Unbelievable. And Matt Ingram, them three are so close. How good three of them are. But probably Longers because he was at Preston. He was unbelievable. And we obviously got relegated that season, but we would have got relegated a few more games before that if it weren't for him. He was brilliant. Great lad as well. Got along with him really, really well. He looked after him when I was at Preston. He's a Preston through lad, and it was lovely. Defender, I'm going to go with Alfie Mawson. Alfie, obviously.
He's ended up in a couple of ours.
Pardon?
He's ended up in a couple of 6-a-sides. He ended up in Gareth's.
I bet Gareth.
I think he ended up in Joe Jacobson's.
I would probably pick Joe in mine, but there's left wingers. Look, me and Joe are really close. I went on a stag do actually this time last year. Great stag do, by the way. I won't get into detail because I don't want to get into trouble. But no, it was yeah. To be fair, Joe's a good player as well. But no, I'll go Alfred Mawson. Just because I was going with midfielders. Then I'll go Jack Cork. Cork is obviously a young lad at Scunthorpe. We looked after him when he come up there, travelling all the way. He was coming obviously on loan from Chelsea. Great lad, great player. I'll go Grant McCann. Yeah. So Grant obviously was a brilliant, selfish player. He used to say to me all the time, "Hazy, go down around the box, go down so I get a free kick. I want to score. Or set me, always set me."
Set me.
He's so shut up, Grant.
I wonder what he'd say now. I wonder if he'd tell you you're lying.
No, I definitely won't. He actually voted me the worst trainer as well at Scunthorpe. I was devo with that. Definitely was. I was up there. Trust me, I was up there. I was never a trainer. I was always a game player. But he said I always used to turn on the games. But I'll text him straight away with that. But no, Grant, love Grant to bits. We go way back. Lovely family as well. So yeah, Grant. Obviously Hoops up front. Gary Hooper. Man's a goal machine. Fucking shy boy. Quite a little grumpy little fucker, but no, goal scorer. Call him Lego Head. And then let me think. It's a tough one, you know. Do you know what? Because he's my pal. I can't say that because I've got a few pals. I'm going to say why didn't pick me. You got me here now. Okay, look, I'm going to have to go with Dale Stevens.
Yeah,
Dale Stevens at Brighton. Obviously, I've picked basically 3 centre midfielders there across the thing, but Dale was like a Rolls Royce at Charlton. Brilliant, fantastic, just effortless. The way he passed it, just technique was phenomenal. Great boy, and it was destined to kick on and do well. Straight away, as soon as I saw him, I thought, you know what, this boy's a player. This boy is decent. So Dale Stevens, BG6 side.
I think that rounds off a perfect podcast with Paul this evening. What a wonderful career he's had, and obviously from having promotions, so successful, scoring many, many goals, obviously nearly getting Pochettino the sack before he ended up doing it at White Hart Lane. But Paul, you've been an absolute brilliant guest, and we wish you all the best with your coaching and your football agency as well. You've been watching Inside the Change Room tonight.